afternoon, good morning, and good day, everyone. Thank you so much, IPA, for providing me this opportunity to share our knowledge and work on aseptic practices and correlating that to smoke studies and media field. Next, please. This is a general disclaimer. This presentation will reflect my own view and our view of the subgroup, but it doesn't represent any views or policy of the organization we are associated with or any entities. Next, please. We always wonder anything scientifically we do, like aseptic practices, what is that, how is that, and why? So there will be some thoughts, there will be a source of contaminations, personal hygiene. Also, we will discuss thumb rule for aseptic practices, gown control, material control, and finally the correlations with smoke study and media field. Next, please. So aseptic practices, all of us might have heard this terminology many times. What is aseptic practices? This is a set of behavior we all do to prevent contaminations into product, sterile component, or any critical parts by considering mainly microorganism, particulate matters, and any other contamination like pyrogen as well. To prevent any kind of contamination, whatever practices we do, that set of behavior is called as the aseptic practices. And how we do it? With the technological advancement, it evolves many ways to prevent contaminations. However, very important is our training, experience, educations, and most important among them is attitude. The attitude of the person governs how an aseptic practices will become excellence and it will become a habit later. And why we do that? Ultimately, our medicines goes to patients. Patients has a high expectations from the medicines that they will get cure out of it. When we are talking about patients, that can be ourselves, myself, you all, and anyone in this world. So when we are working on patient safety, there is always the patient's life has to be considered when we are doing aseptic practices, and we should understand that any contamination can risk patient's life. Particulate matter can blockage their blood vessels, or any microorganism or endotoxin or pyrogen contaminations can risk the life of the patient. Next, please. This is very close to my heart. I wish to share that some thoughts. Let us not make it too difficult. On the left of the screen, you can see a person trying to walk on a rope with some pots on the head. Can we say it's an excellence? Yes, it's an excellence by practice, but let us not make it so difficult for the person to observe. So aseptic practices should be supported with design so that it doesn't become so difficult. In the same time, the next middle picture shows our risk-based approach. Even if we are going to a bathtub, the person is taking oxygen, having a good swimsuit, and taking a conservative approach. With use of the technology in aseptic processes to prevent contamination, we always must see and must have an approach of conservative, and with technological advancement we should always look forward to newer and safer technology. Finally, the attitude of a pilot very close to my heart. Whenever a pilot is flying an aeroplane, he keeps his or her worries outside. Passenger safety is his foremost importance, and a simple snack brings back the aeroplane to the ground, and in the same time he doesn't think it is a regulation requirement, a compliance requirement, or a audit requirement. He thinks passenger safety, safe take-up, safe landing, and passenger's life is foremost importance. In our case, it's patient safety. So we should give importance to patient safety. If we follow patient safety, automatically the compliance will happen. Automatically we will be always ready with safe procedure, and we will not impact the product. Next, please. The source of contaminations, we all know, people are considered as the greatest source of contaminations in manufacturing of sterile products. The picture shows it all, and we should always try our best to separating operator from critical areas. And with the technological advancement, barrier technologies such as isolator, restricted access barrier systems are very helpful, and we should continue to use isolator and wraps instead of conventional. Conventional process are no more useful, because we all know with availability of technology where we can reduce the risk, we must use those. Next, please. We all say aseptic practice should be followed at company or manufacturing suites, but I will tell it that it should start from our personal hygiene and our own home. We should always follow the hygienic practices at home as well, and the practices will followed at company will start from our home with personal hygiene. Next, please. When we call about personal hygiene, the important part is regular bathing and showering. Every day, preferably, I will tell twice we should do that, which will remove our skin cells, as well as it will reduce the microorganism load on our body. And hand wash is a must. It will never replace anything, and sanitization is not equal to hand wash. So always hand wash must be done with the use of soap solution or any good soap after using toilets, after smoking, or after meal break, or during each entry to the aseptic area or critical area. So hand wash followed by sanitization, but hand wash is a must. Next, please. These are the thumb rules of aseptic practices. We all know no jewelry, no wristband, hand watch, cosmetic. During this festival period, we are very tempted to have these bands of God. Those should be, we should have a trust in God, but we should remove the band to save life. We should not have any cosmetic, keys, card, or personal medicine, and these are not allowed in aseptic area. No street clothes are allowed to the change room. Forget about the critical area. No street clothes are allowed to the change room leading to grade C or B area. Those street clothes should be removed in the primary change room, where we initially enter into factory premises, and then in the primary change room we should wear a clean garment covering the full body. One important thing, gloved hands are not sterile hands. With gloved hand, we cannot touch anything sterile. Always, to touch anything sterile or intervene, we must use a sterile contact part or instrument. So it should be remembered, gloved hands are not sterile. It is sanitized. Next, please. Aseptic interventions starts with fast air. Fast air means when the air is leaving from the HEPA surface or the ellipse, it should not hit any sanitized surface, and it should not hit operator body, and then it pass on to the sterile surface or critical surface. It should be always checked during the smoke study, and we must ensure that no air is hitting any sanitized surface or operator's body when we are doing any intervention or when we are doing aseptic operations. Contact of sterile material should be done with always with sterile instrument. We already discussed that. Next, please. In aseptic area, we need to move slowly and deliberately slow. Why? Because the unidirectional airflow, which is coming from the laminar airflow surface or the HEPA surface, if we walk faster, we disturb that unidirectional flow, and the floor level contaminations can come up to the working level. And in the same time, we also can shed particle into the cleaner air. So the slow movement should be deliberate by understanding how it will help us to prevent particulate and microbial contamination into the product, and no contamination should rise up to the working level. And this slow should be a practice. It should not be that so much slow that we cannot work. It should not be faster that it disturbs the air. The slow movement should be a practice. It should be same during media fill. It should be same during smoke study. It should be same during routine practice. So we should not defer these slow movement time to time, and we should not make it very slow when somebody is watching it. It should be a practice for aseptic behavior. And often I come across one word, robotic. So actually aseptic practices should not be robotic. Actually robot sex is body parts, hands, head. So but in aseptic practices we cannot shake our body part or hands. We should always try to minimize our movement of the body part and move slowly. Next, please. The operator, during the initial induction and periodically, must be shown the video of the airflow or smoke studies, and all intervention. We should not leave any single interventions to present it to the operator who will do aseptic actions, and must be trained to follow these actions during routine practices. The same aseptic technique and interventions must be followed exactly during smoke studies, successful media fill, and routine practices. And the position marking for the man and material on the floor, interventions, access point marking on machine, cubicle door, glove ports, for each type of interventions must be there. Example will come in next slide. Next, please. So if we see why to follow below aseptic practices with the marking of all these doors, position of the operator, position of the material, because through the smoke study, we always check that the fast air is not hitting any sanitized surface, and how the intervention is not impacting into the contaminations or the product or the critical zone. So if we do smoke through a globe port for a particular intervention, we need to correlate that to media fill and also during routine operation. So there should be a list of the intervention with the door identification, globe port identification, that which intervention through which door for which frequency for which durations, that should be marked, because operator cannot remember. And remember this, that we may mention that in batch manufacturing record, but operator cannot visualize the batch manufacturing record always. So it should be on the door, that which door allows which intervention, and where the operator should stand during each intervention, and where the material are to be placed. And why we keep the forceps tip upward towards HEPA or LF, the first picture shows that, because we all discussed that the fast air should not hit the sanitized surface, operator body, or anything when it touches the sterile surface. The forceps tip is going near to the sterile item or sterile object. So when we keep the tip up, the fast air will hit the tip and it will not be contaminated. So similarly, door and globe port locations must be identified, as I mentioned, why it is, and marking position of the operator, and how the slow and deliberate movement with hands above working height. Why we should keep our hands above the working height? Because when hands are sanitized, if we put the hands down, it will go below the working height. If it goes below the working height, our all validations or area qualification or the contamination level are validated up to the working height. At floor level is a worst case, or the more contamination will be below the working height. So if we put after sanitization our hands below waist level or below the working height, then hands get contaminated. Hence, after sanitization in critical zone, we should keep our hands up as shown in the right hand side last picture. Next, please. So there are many speculations when we are doing aseptic technique or behavior, whether it is applicable or in isolator, whether we can little bit of relax for any aseptic technique. No. Even if with isolator, close restricted access barrier system, the aseptic techniques are always same, and aseptic technique cannot be relaxed in isolator. Aseptic interventions should always be from the side, so we should not do it from the top, because again the fast air will hit and go to the sterile surface. So we should do in a manner from the side, so that the sterile surfaces gets the fast air. An operator should refrain from speaking, because when we speak we contaminate more with our speech. So we should refrain from speaking when in direct proximity to the critical zone or area. Next, please. The grade A machines, we should never use PVC curtains, because if we do PVC curtains, then that will create a challenge. We always should use hard partition, and when we use hard partition, it may open outside the grade A zone when we are opening a door for any intervention. Generally it doesn't happen, but if it happens, then we must do sanitization of the inner side of the door and before we are closing the door. So we also should understand there must be a grade A continuity from the point of sterilization of any item. When it goes to a zone for assembly or usage, it should always travel through grade A continuity, and a mobile cart can be used for that, and we can also use a grade A zone for that. For isolators, all the components are to be sterilized in autoclave or with the CIP SIP system of the isolator itself, and it should be transferred to the isolator. Here the point is, when we are doing aseptic intervention in isolator, do not perform it before decontamination cycle. We have to put all the items without opening the contact surfaces to the extent feasible for a better placement with a closed door, but we should not expose the contact surface during the disinfection cycle of isolator. Post to decontamination cycle, we can remove those wrappers or the tip wrapped with bacterial barrier paper through the glove ports. And we must ensure these wrappers should not go and block the risers inside the isolator, and it should be placed in a bin which was provided inside the isolator. That also we need to take care during the aseptic practices inside isolator. Next, please. So when we talk about people are the source of contaminations, so people entry to critical zone must be restricted to qualified and authorized people only, and it must be minimized. Each room should be qualified with number of people presence, and we must qualify that with the equal or worst case. Suppose an aseptic area allows 4 people, we may qualify that with 5 people, but not 3 people. So always the dynamic operations or the NBPC count must be done with the personnel present with activity on, and number of personnel is important during qualification, including media field. So when we are restricting the people, we must monitor it as well, that who is going where, and record it and review regularly. And we can do it through the biometric record or electronic smart access system available now in worldwide. Next, please. The frequency durations of each aseptic interventions must be restricted, monitored, and recorded and reviewed. Here I told three things: type, frequency, and durations of aseptic interventions. All interventions must be simulated or conducted in airflow pattern and as well as in successful media fill, and based on which it should be controlled through procedure for its type, frequency, and durations. Electronic intervention recording systems are very helpful in this because operator may miss and operator may not get an alert that how many times he did, what duration he or she did. So with the electronic intervention system, with alerting the operator for the time and type and which interventions will be helpful. Next, please. So we already discussed frequent sanitization of hands above working height and why we have to do. We should not touch any wall or surfaces by our gowns. Next, please. So when we are talking about the gowns, the important part is operator must know the external part of the gown should never be touched, and operator should not get engaged in any activity which can contaminate his or her gown, like cleaning activity. Once the operator is doing cleaning activity, he or she should come out, change the gown, and then go in. Any maintenance, we should not continue working there. We should come out, change the gown, and work. And only persons who are appropriately qualified for gowning will be permitted to the aseptic area. And the person who need to do interventions in grade A must be qualified in the successful media fill. For gown use, we must follow a standard mentioned in IEST, Institute of Environmental Science and Technology, that is IEST RPCC 003.4. And last but not least about gown control, the goggle many times we use perforated goggles that is directly opening to the environment. That is not acceptable. All the goggle must be indirect ventilation type as shown in the picture. Next, please. For material control, anything entering grade A zone must be sterile or adequately sanitized if sterilization is not permissible, and then the material should pass through different cascade like D2C, C2B, and finally B2A. If cascade is not possible, then a VHP pass box can be used, and E-beam tunnel rapid transfer port can be used for the same. Next, please. The correlations of aseptic practice with airflow pattern and smoke study, we already discussed it before. The risk assessment of aseptic process must be done. We must know what is the type, frequency, and duration happened in last 25 batches or in last 6 months, whichever is higher under a protocol. And then these aseptic practices for a new facility can be done through brainstorming and similar line or similar practices what is there. Then the water fill can be done. And when we mention the type, durations, and the frequency through the water trial or experience of the line or a data collected for the routine media fill, then we should go for a smoke study for a new line, and based on this type, duration, and location, that has to be simulated in smoke study. And post successful smoke study, we should do media fill with the same type, durations, and the difference is in media fill we have to also simulate the frequency, number of time, but in smoke number of time is not required, but duration of opening is required. Next, please. So one important note, when we are performing any aseptic interventions, we should not do excessive interventions by telling we qualified in media fill. High risk operations should not be justified with successful smoke study or media fill. And use of the best technology, design, and facility reduce risk only if with appropriate aseptic practices are performed. Excellence should be a habit. Patient safety is our ultimate goal. We should never say compliance is a requirement or we should be audit ready. We should always try our best to reduce risk to the patient life, even if there is no audit, even if there is no observation, even if there is no supervision. The patient safety is foremost. If we follow patient safety and risk-based approach, compliance will happen automatically. And in the same time, we should make our plant always patient safety ready, not audit ready. Next, please.
Thank you, Pradipta. It was very crisp presentation, covering almost all the aspects. And it is, I know it is impossible to cover every aspects of the aseptic in just half an hour. I understand that. I think there is one question which has come. So during media field, each media field should have all the interventions, or three media field all together should consider all the interventions which are happening. What is
Good question. Thank you so much. So during media fill, we need to have 100% of each intervention routine and non-routine in each media fill. We cannot segregate those intervention into different runs of the media fill. It has to be performed in all, because we want to see the consistency of those interventions in multiple media fill. So all intervention which are routine and non-routine should be 100% performed in each media fill. However, worst cases like hold time, increasing the number of people to the maximum during filling, these can be staggered between the media fill. All hold times should not be simulated in one media fill, because if there is a challenge for any worst cases or hold time, we will not understand due to which hold time or which worst case there is a challenge in the media fill. So worst cases can be rotated. However, routine and non-routine should be 100% in each media fill.
There is one more question. Like in the solid orals, the batches are continued without really cleaning the equipment. 5 batches are kept. Can we do the similar thing in the sterile operations? Without autoclaving, can you go to the next batch?
I already told during my presentation, high risk operations should not be qualified in aseptic operations. So if based on our risk evaluations, there is a risk to the patient safety, then we cannot proceed with that. We cannot go for campaign instead of sterilization and full cleaning. In aseptic practices, we have to be conservative, and we cannot have those kind of campaign approach.
Thank you, Pradipta. I think that's all questions from the audience. We are just waiting for your guideline to come for the publication. That's what last thing is remaining. I think within short time it will happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.